Alright, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be doing my first impressions of the Galaxy Watch Ultra. So let's get into it. So the Galaxy Watch Ultra comes in a different kind of box this year. It's a lot smaller than the normal Galaxy Watch boxes in terms of like the length of it. They're usually super long, but this one is shorter and it's a little bit thicker because if you open up the box, you get another box and you get the box for the band. It's kind of similar to the Apple Watch Ultra unboxing experience, but that one had a little bit more going on. But yeah, in terms of the watch bands, they are different, you know, the same shape as the Apple Watch Ultra, as I'm sure you've heard people say this year. And this is the default band that it came with. And I never actually used it because I did get this trail band for free and I've been using that. My experience wearing the watch is going to come from the perspective of using this trail band. But yeah, so the Galaxy Watch Ultra is obviously a big watch. You know, when I first saw the design, I was like, damn, I don't know how I feel about it because one, no rotating bezel, and two, why would you have a circle within a square, you know? Why not just go full square or full circle? And so when I saw the design, I was kind of like, what the heck are they doing? I didn't understand it. But the watch actually looks pretty decent. And after using it for some time and seeing it in person, because I saw it in the store before I got it, I actually like how it looks, you know? What sold it for me was the white one. But when I went to go get the white one after I ordered my Z Fold 6, it just wasn't in stock, so I couldn't get the white one. But I do like how the silver one looks. I still think this is a clean looking watch. Do wish the bezel looked a little bit better. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of just this plain black bezel with the lines, but it is what it is. I might get a cover for it later on. I'm just waiting for some silver ones to drop. Overall though, I like the design of the watch. It's a big watch, right? It's a thick and big watch. At least for my wrist, I don't know how big people would consider it. I don't think it's that big of a wrist, maybe like medium size. I feel like this watch looks pretty decent. Like, I think it looks pretty clean. It's kind of like a sporty, rugged type of watch, like, you know, G-Shock. Man used to wear G-Shocks back in the day. Kind of reminds you of that kind of vibe. And it's just a clean watch overall. In terms of aesthetics, I like it. I do kind of wish I got a different color of the trail band, but this trail band is not bad. It's actually nice. So going back to the size of the watch now, you might think because it's such a big watch, it might not be comfortable on your wrist, but I feel like for some reason this watch is more comfortable than the previous Galaxy watches I've worn, like my Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, which I'm giving away. You go check out the video that pops up right here in the corner to learn how you can enter that giveaway. But I feel like this watch is more comfortable than that watch. But yeah, that's enough about how it looks. Now, the actual experience of this watch, first thing you're gonna notice obviously is just how smooth it is. And like, the more recent Samsung watches are not like, they're not slow and they're not laggy, but like, you can definitely notice the speed and the smoothness of this watch compared to those watches. Like, I don't know, I feel like the new processor in this watch is definitely paying off in terms of like just an everyday, you know, experience of navigating the menus and stuff like that. The screen is bright. You're always going to be able to see it. I think it goes up to like 3000 nits of brightness, which is pretty insane at the peak. And yeah, just like navigating it, you got your basic gestures. So swipe down, you got your quick toggle menu, which you can add and subtract different things to add to here, like, you know, Bluetooth, the water lock mode, Wi-Fi, all that stuff. You can access them quickly from the quick toggle menu. So that's pretty nice. Swipe to the left, you got your notifications. Then you can swipe up to dismiss them, which is cool. If you tap and hold, you get more options like responding and stuff like that. And then you swipe to the right, you got different widgets that you can add and customize. So the way I have mine, my overall health stats for the day, like how active I've been, calories burned, and steps. Then you got multi-sport mode, which is pretty cool. I haven't tried it yet, but this is a new thing with these new watches where basically you can set 3 different kinds of workouts to activate in tandem. I think the watch is supposed to smartly know when you're starting the next thing. So let's say you're running, then you're swimming, then you're running again. It's supposed to know to switch between those different workouts. And it's just a cool little function. I want to try it out eventually. So yeah, it's nice to have that. Then obviously you got your different workouts. So walking, running, biking, and so much more. But I mainly use it for walking and running, so those are mine. That's why I have that here. Then next, I got my energy meter. So this is an interesting new metric that they added where it kind of tracks your energy. And it's, for me, it's low-key been pretty accurate still. It's kind of how I feel. And, you know, I think the number is a combination of different things, like, you know, how good you've been sleeping, your sleep timing, consistency, your wake time, you know, previous day activity, sleeping heart rate, and all that kind of stuff. It will monitor that, and then it will kind of comprise them all and figure out how you might be feeling, what's your energy score level. And I think it's pretty decent and pretty accurate for my personal energy levels, like 72. I think that's pretty accurate for today. And then the next widget I have is just another one of heart rate, sleep time, and then, you know, stress level. And so with this widget, you can actually customize it and change what different things are in these little boxes. Let's say there's some of them that are kind of redundant, you can combine them into one. So for example, I have the workout widget, and then I also have the multi-sport widget. So I can probably combine those into one widget rather than having them in two separate widgets, taking up more space and, you know, being 2 swipes away for one of them. So I think that is pretty cool. Then I have the weather, you know, I can quickly check the weather on my watch with this widget right here. Then next is my calendar, so I can, you know, quickly check the calendar, see what reminders are there, see what I'm doing, what events, which is really nice. Then I got my battery levels, my phone, my watch, whatever else might be connected to my phone. Blood pressure, might mess around with that. Then I got the ECG, might mess around with that. Then I got the Buds controller. I don't always use my Galaxy Buds Live or Buds Plus, but when I do, it's nice to have the controls on the watch. And then obviously you can add more widgets. So this is not a final layout for my widgets. This is just kind of what I've been using so far. I'm definitely going to customize it as I use the watch more and, you know, go more in depth with how I have the layout and stuff like that. But that's just how my widgets are right now. And then the faces. So I actually like this new face. It's a new watch face that is, I'm pretty sure, exclusive to the Galaxy Watch Ultra. And it just allows for a lot of information being shown on the screen while still looking kind of clean and not too cluttered. And it's not too, like, you know, epic dude, sportsy looking. So I like that. But basically when you tap and hold, then you can customize it and you can change your watch face. And correction, MKBHD, you might have watched this video on this watch. He was, you know, kind of listing this function right here, tapping and holding to change your watch face, as something that was copied from the Apple Watches or the Apple Watch Ultra. But that has been a function for a very long time, since like the Galaxy Watch Active 2. That's my earliest experience with these watches. So it's just another thing that, you know, he said it was a copy, but it's not really a copy. It's been there from time. But anyways, customizing this watch face, you can customize the background with a bunch of different colors. They got gradient colors and then solid colors, which is pretty cool. And also this watch does not have a rotating bezel, but it does have the digital bezel, which you can tap and hold on the edge of the watch and then it will work kind of like a rotating bezel, which is kind of cool. But I would have rathered a physical bezel, if we're being honest. And then, you know, other options will be like, depending on the app, like this is Facebook Messenger, I can respond like literally with the full keyboard. I can type or I can swipe and it will work fine. So this is a pretty sick keyboard. And you know, when I used to have these watches, and when Samsung first switched to Wear OS, I was excited because Samsung watches didn't have a full keyboard before. Now they do. This is actually the built-in keyboard. I still might put Google keyboard on it, but when they switched to Wear OS, I switched to Gboard instantly because that was just so much better on my Fossil watches that I had before Samsung watches. So yeah, I'm glad that there's a full keyboard here now. And yeah, so you can even like read the messages if you're getting pictures or images in your text messages or whatever chat it is. You see those, you got quick responses. You can get suggested responses from AI and you can adjust all these quick responses and stuff. So it's pretty cool. You can also like the message, block notifications, show on phone, and obviously dismiss the notification. Using the watch to answer quick notifications and respond to messages and stuff has been amazing, and that's probably like half of the functionality that I use on Galaxy watches and smartwatches in general. It's just super valuable to me to be able to, you know, get a message, respond to it quickly, and call it a day. Or if somebody's calling you, I use that a lot as well. Then I answer the phone on this watch, and the experience is pretty good. Like the speaker is very loud this year. It hasn't been bad previously for me, but yeah, the speaker is good on this watch right here, and people have no problem hearing my voice. Overall, the call experience is pretty good on this watch. So now let's get into the tracking stuff. So I feel like the steps have been pretty accurate for me. I don't have like a, you know, professional step tracker machine or something like that, professional type pedometer, but I feel like the steps have been pretty accurate in my tracking. The only issue with this watch and a lot of smartwatches that people don't talk about is if you push a stroller, if your arm is not like down hanging, then the steps are not going to track that accurately. So for example, when my wife and I go on walks and we brought our daughter with us, obviously we're pushing her in the stroller. When one of us is pushing the stroller, then those steps are not getting tracked. So what my wife started doing now is she puts her watch on her ankle and it tracks her steps more accurately than on her wrist when she's pushing the shoulder. And me, I just take the loss because I'm too lazy to do that. So yeah, that's just something to know. If your arms are actively doing something like carrying, like when I'm putting my daughter to sleep and I'm holding her in my arms and I'm, you know, trying to get her to sleep, then my watch is not going to track the steps accurately. That's just something that happens with all smartwatches. So, you know, something to think about. Even it doesn't matter how expensive the watch is, that's just going to be a thing that it struggles with. But outside of that, the steps have been pretty accurate compared to other watches. Like I've tried a bunch of Galaxy watches, I've had Apple watches, and I feel like it kind of lines up to my experience. Although I don't have them to, you know, test right now alongside, but it feels like it's pretty accurate, especially in the distance walk and stuff like that. I've did a couple, you know, walk-in workouts and it seems all right. The heart rate seems like is decent decently accurate compared to, you know, other watches that I experienced as well. I don't think it's like anywhere too crazy, like in terms of difference or variance. And honestly, when it comes to tracking your heart rate on these watches, the watch clearly, you know, tells you not to let this be a judge of your health. So what I mainly use it for is like just seeing like different trends or like a change in something. So like, for example, you know, if I'm running, obviously my heart's going to be beating faster. So seeing the higher number might give me an idea of like what's going on in my body and how hard my body is working, versus, you know, a lower number might be like, I'm not pushing myself too much right now, or like I've, you know, I'm more chill, I'm more relaxed. So that's how I kind of use the heart rate monitor on these watches. I try not to use it for like a health reason, because you can just scare yourself. Like all of a sudden your heart rate is above 100 and then you're like, oh shoot, like what's going on? Am I having a heart attack? Stuff like that. So you know, you shouldn't use these watches like that. But the heart rate has been good for what I just said, just you know, detecting changes in what's going on in your body and seeing if you're being like super active and stuff like that. And then the battery life. So battery life is pretty interesting with this watch. I feel like it's actually really good. It's better than all the Samsung watches I've had, and it will last me around like just over 2 days with always on display. I haven't used power saving mode, so I don't know. But it's kind of a little bit disappointing because I was hoping for a longer battery life than just 2 days. And to be honest, if I was somebody who did more workouts and stuff like that, I could see how the battery life would just die faster. So the battery life is really good. I don't have to think about charging it that often, but it's not like amazing where I can kind of forget about it for a week, you know? And that's what I ultimately want. I want like 5 days of battery life so I don't have to think about charging my watch. It could just continue tracking. So now what I've been doing, because of how the battery life is good, but also kind of like it's not as good as I want to, it's kind of an awkward place where, let's say I'll have like, you know, 50%, 60%, but I'm driving my car and I'm driving for like 40 minutes. Then I feel like I might as well just put it on the charger that I have in my car just to charge it up, because why not just trickle charge to have as much battery as possible so I don't have to charge it fully again anytime soon or within the next day. So that's what I kind of been doing. Like right now, chilling at my desk, I got this charger plugged in. I might as well just put it on the charger and let it charge while I'm not walking around and while it doesn't need to track anything too serious right now. So it's kind of an awkward place where the battery life is really good, but then it's also not good enough where I can just forget about it. So I end up just trickle charging it anyways. And it makes me feel like, because I was using my Galaxy Watch 4 Classic before this, and that battery life was only like, it would probably last me around like 26 hours in total. And it was just kind of annoying to charge it every day. It would die on me and stuff like that. But so after using this watch with better battery life, it makes me feel like if I just did the same thing with my Watch 4 Classic, I probably would have had no issue with the battery life on that. So yeah, it's good, but it's not amazing. I feel like I was getting more battery life out of my Apple Watch Ultra, which is interesting because I think they have the same battery size, and MKBHD even got more battery life on this compared to his Apple Watch Ultra in certain situations. It's kind of interesting, but either way, it's comparable to the Apple Watch Ultra, and it depends on your usage. So you could still get around the same battery life, especially if you turn off always on display and other things. So it's not terrible, like I said, but it's not like the best of the best. But when you combine that really good battery life with all the functions of this watch and all the things it can do, it's a good experience. I'm not gonna lie, it's a really good experience. Another thing to talk about though is the charging speed. So I feel like this watch charges slower than other Galaxy watches I've had. I'm not sure if it's because the battery size increased, so it just takes longer, which makes sense, but it definitely takes longer to charge than the other Galaxy watches I've had, which is kind of unfortunate. And then another thing with this watch is that you cannot use it for reverse wireless charging on the back of your phone, which is kind of annoying, I think, because, you know, that's a feature that like was pretty cool to have in the first place. You don't use it too often, but when you use it, it comes clutch, and this watch cannot do that. So if this watch is dying, it's dying. But I will say though, when this watch is at like 10%, let's say I just woke up 9 a.m, the watch is at 10%, I'm not scared of the watch dying before the end of the day. So even though the lower percentages with this watch is not going to be too dire, like I'm not going to be scared it's going to die before, you know, I do what I need to do with the watch on, but it is kind of annoying that I can't just charge it on the back of my phone. So there's that to note as well. But overall, first impressions with the Galaxy Watch Ultra is it's a really good watch. I'm enjoying my experience with it. I don't know how accurate it is in comparison to other watches, but I've really been enjoying it. It feels comfortable to wear despite being a big watch. I think it looks better than I thought it would look, especially in person and on my wrist. The only thing is it makes me feel like I don't necessarily need an Ultra watch. I don't regret buying it at all. I don't regret getting this watch. I enjoy it. I think it can last a long time, especially because of the durability, which is one of the things that drew me to this watch. How rugged it is, you know, sapphire screen, titanium. But even the base models have the same sapphire screen now. So it's kind of like another feature that the other watches have. But despite all that, I don't regret it. It just, and it also kind of makes me want a smart ring even more. But I got a lot more videos coming out. I'm actually going to be doing a 100-kilometer run, so stay tuned for that video. I'm going to be going from Toronto to Niagara Falls. It's going to be a crazy run with my friend. I'm going to test this Galaxy Watch Ultra on that run and see how it tracks the steps, the heart rate, all that stuff. And yeah, so that's it for this video. Samsung Galaxy Watch Ultra, first impressions, and we out. Peace.